Three, two, one. Welcome to the SaaS Pulse Show. My name is Michael Bertoni, and I'm the founder and CEO of SaaS Talent. And unbelievably excited today, everyone. We have an amazing co-founder on the show talking about sales, talking about AI, two of the biggest things that people care about right now, top line revenue, AI. So let me introduce everybody to Yogi Panjabi. He is the co-founder of PeopleLens. We've got a couple different headlines we're going to say for PeopleLens: accelerating top line for your front line. That's the first one that I found. The second one that I found is making sales more human, intelligent, and productive. So it is awesome to have you on the show, Yogi.
Delighted to be here, Mike. Thank you for having us. Huge fan of the show and huge fan of really the talent that you surface for your clients. And again, excited to have this conversation together.
No, it's awesome. So what I always love to start with, Yogi, you've got a great name for a superhero backstory, right? So the first thing, I'm a superhero fan. I love Superman. I always like to start with your superhero backstory. What that is how did you come to PeopleLens, right? How did this happen, right? So what is the journey? How did you get here to PeopleLens?
Yeah, totally. Great question. My journey has been a winded path. And I started in the world of engineering and went to school there. And then from there, went to business school and was fortunate to go to McKinsey, where I was really fortunate to have this solid foundation that laid out the rest of my journey. And as I left McKinsey after about a decade, I found myself in the Valley and working for iconic brands. I was extremely fortunate to have seen some of those brands from the inside and worn very different hats. So I started in the world of sales and marketing, going from that world of strategy to that world. And then from sales and marketing, I went to the world of product. And that was just another whole world, seeing how that magic happens and how businesses and consumers respond to that. And from there, really went to the world of IT and figured out what it takes for the back office to become the front office and to really think about the application of technology. And from there, really found myself where it all came together in the world of people and in the world of talent. And so I've been fortunate to traverse through this journey, wear those different hats. As I found myself in each of those functions, I was really fortunate again to be mentored by some of the best leaders who really helped me understand how those functions really fitted together and what made an enterprise, how those functions really came together to make the magic of the top line see its light. And I took some of that, like aspirationally, what I was trying to do was just learn and understand how that lens comes together, how that full picture comes together, as opposed to rise to the top inside any of those particular functions. And so that's been a little bit of my journey. I found myself at Palo Alto Networks, leading up people tech and people analytics. And that's where the journey for PeopleLens really started. The mission was founded there. The idea came to life there, and we'll talk more about that.
No, it's so awesome. Love that story. So give us we love to go with the elevator pitch, right? So tell us the elevator pitch. You're walking, you're actually going up the elevator with a sales leader. So there is a sales leader in the elevator with you. How are you going to describe PeopleLens?
Yeah, so what we really focus on is the first principles. Today, the lens in sales is on the customer, rightfully so. The customer is what got us here. The CRM was built a few decades back with that focus. But if we zoom out and we put the product at the center and the rep on the other side, what we're really doing is bringing the rep back into the equation,
Mhm.
beginning to serve the lens for the rep, making them the hero, bringing their rep touch points together, their attributes, their competencies, their time allocation, their activities, really surfacing what matters to help them grow, to help their managers become better coaches, and to really grow that top line with a focus on the front line.
Yeah, no, I saw the research from Salesforce. It was really amazing. So let's dig one level deeper, Yogi. Like, how does the product specifically work, right? So what are you doing? So I worked at a company for a while called Jive Software, which you might have heard of, that really helped collaboration and you learn and knowledge sharing. So tell everybody listening right now, like, how does the product work? Like at a high level, how does the product work?
Yeah. So I think, Benioff came out last year. He really described the problem exceedingly well. What he really said is, hey, like 96% of my revenues comes from 50% of my reps. The other 50% isn't quite producing, and I don't know why. And that's the problem we want to help every CRO, every sales leader really solve. What we found at the level beneath that is really that the drivers for rep performance are largely unclear.
Mm-hmm.
And managers really, really struggle with having those objective, insight-driven one-on-one conversations with their reps.
Right.
And by virtue of all of that, rep productivity, quota attainment has seen a massive drop in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And so as PeopleLens comes to life, we really solve that. A, we diagnose the drivers of rep performance. B, we empower every manager with those personalized insights to become a better coach, to help them have those one-on-one conversations, not with Salesforce dashboards or with Tableau reports, but to do so with really focused, with personalized insights on the individual, on their team. And three, we bring that to life on the front line with nudges that are, again, personalized, that are precise, that are pointed, helping every rep who's struggling know where they need to focus to lift their game. So that's really what PeopleLens does as we help customers, again, grow top line with a focus on their front line.
Yeah. So in terms of your ICP, your ideal client, right? So everybody listening to this right now, you definitely have to connect with Yogi, right? What I love to hear when people are listening to this is, hey, somebody reached out to me and gave me a referral or a lead, right? So what types of companies are you targeting, right? So I know you're early stage, right? You're getting out there. So what type of introductions are you looking for? What's your ICP, your ideal client profile?
Yeah, great question. And thanks, Mike. So what we're really doing is we're working with a bunch of mid-market companies, VP of sales, VP of RevOps. Inside those companies, mid-market for us is, rep counts anywhere from 30 and up, going up to a few hundred. What we're really doing is helping those leaders understand the drivers for performance on their reps. We start off with what we call a proof of value, where we really help them see the top line grow in a very, very short span of time. And we run these as POVs, is what we call it, proof of value. And we help them and their managers zoom into the individual drivers for performance, focus on the underperformers. In most companies, we see that bell curve where you have your massive middle. That's really where we focus. We look at your Bs, we try and understand what a manager needs to do to precisely help those Bs, as opposed to tell them, this is what I did when I was in your role. We let the insights, those personalized nudges, come to the forefront. For example, where is a rep allocating their time? Are they spending enough time with their customers? For example, do they have the right level of competencies? Are they bringing the breadth to the portfolio? If you're following MEDPIC or another sales methodology, to what extent are you executing it? Like, when is that executive, the E in MEDPIC, when is that executive conversation happening? Is it happening earlier? And so we really bring these precise, these pointed nudges to every manager and every rep, to put them on that same side of the table, to have the conversation, again, all with the intent of helping the rep grow as opposed to letting them go.
Yeah. And are there particular industries like, I mean, obviously we're all in SaaS, technology, right? There's tons of industries that have a lot of salespeople, right? So are there any particular industries that you're really seeing wins right now?
Yeah, we're, as you said, a startup and an early stage. We're pretty focused on the world of tech and SaaS, particularly. That's where we see our early customers. That's where we see the top line move. For us to really help those customers, what we see is a few different pieces come together. They're really struggling, particularly over the last few quarters or a year. They've gone from 12, 13, 14, 15% growth to 7, 8, 9% growth.
Definitely.
And so that's when the conversation begins. The underlying drivers for that limited growth is quite unclear. What we do is we get a pilot going, zoom into, again, where we can help pointed managers, pointed reps to lift their game. And that's how we really help, by bringing that precision to those managers, to those leaders, with what we call a exec lens that we have for larger teams and for executives, that they get the macro view. And then we have something called the manager lens that helps them understand what do they specifically need to help every individual in the team. And then we have something called the rep lens, which really makes it real for an individual today who is struggling, who hears they need to improve, who knows they need to improve, but doesn't quite know where to focus. And so that's generally how the product comes to life for our ICP.
Yeah, what I'm very curious about, just curiosity with in regards to what you're doing. How are you getting the biggest thing that's hard right now for SaaS startups and getting people to care, right? So you got to get people to care, get your ICP to care. So what are you doing? Are you doing anything right now? What are you seeing that's working? For the people listening to this right now, they're thinking, I might want to start something. They've started something. How are you getting traction? What's working?
Yeah, for us, again, we've been fortunate to spend a few decades on our journey here. So we have that foundation. We're fortunate again to be blessed with a network. Our advisors are, former Salesforce leaders, Snowflake leaders.
Nice.
Our early investors are, again, the buyer persona. And so we have, again, a platform of advisors and investors that we lean on. And our personal networks have just been, super helpful to get the ball running. So, advice, if I were to say to other founders or to folks thinking about the world of entrepreneurship is precisely that. Like, wherever you are, if company building or if entrepreneurship is on your path, have that strong foundation of a network and get to be a part of that ecosystem. I was, again, fortunate to be on the sidelines for a bit as an angel investor, as an advisor. So learned a little bit, again, from the folks who've done this well before us, and having that ecosystem, having that network, and obviously the family support to keep this going is again, incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that is great. That is great advice. I mean, I actually just was coaching one of my clients today about this. Is everybody listening to this, you need an advisory board. You need people that are around you that are helping you, right? Even if and these aren't even paid positions. These are people you could probably just call or email or text, right? So that is great advice, Yogi. So in terms of challenges, right? So what have been the main challenges that you've dealt with and how are you overcoming them?
Yeah, so it's in our name. It's largely been about people. It's in your business, in our business. It's really at the heart of it. It's about the people. It's been about attracting the right people, making sure that collaborators, partners, co-founders at this stage, where every individual counts. We don't have an army that we can lean on, but we have individuals who really become that army in essence. And so our approach to bringing on a team together has been always about character, chemistry, and then competence. And so that's really been how we approached the world of bringing on a talent, bringing on a team, and that created challenges. It wasn't like, every individual you met was the right partner on this journey. So it's taken a bunch of filtering, a bunch of getting it wrong, a bunch of scars, before we got to this framework that we are now very, very married to. And that would be, something, again, I would encourage others to think about as you think about. So shaping that culture and being very clear and intentional about the talent you're trying to bring on, and just folks that you enjoy working with, folks that you enjoy living the other side of your life with, or perhaps the core side of your life with, it has been very critical. And again, the scars for us have taught us a lot on that journey to make sure that we get the talent side or the people side really, really right. So that's key. I can go on and on. There have been a bunch of these, but that's really life of a founder. I think that the second and the third briefly are really about making sure that we keep iterating on go-to-market. Just like you have PMF or product market fit, there isn't a set formula that works in go-to-market. So making sure that we are trying and learning and measuring and failing before we can really figure out what's working for our customers and what's creating that value and what's creating that value quickly. So iterating has been really that same level of principle that you bring to product market fit. Bringing that to go-to-market fit has been very, very core for us to succeed.
Nice. And in terms of you kind of brought it up. It was great. I mean, I have a feeling you have some really specific things you're looking at in terms of talent and people and culture. So do you have any things that you'd like to share around that, right? So how do you look at your people? What are some of the most important things that you're looking for? And what are you looking for when you're thinking about talent?
Yeah, I think, quite simply, it's character, as we just said. Like you gotta start there. Traditional input is you gotta start with competence and figure out, like, has this individual done it before, and has this individual checked off the box in startup land. And so that's where we started. But what we learned along the journey, and our advisors taught us, and experiences in the world of people taught us, is it's really, really important to hone into the character, understand the individual, understand the integrity. Like, are they really thinking, saying, and doing the same thing? That for us is integrity. That for us is character. And so being able to be in conversations, be able to work together for a few months before we figure out, like, is this journey for us together? And so that's character is where we start. Chemistry is making sure that, again, we get folks to spend some time, meet every member of the team, meet our advisors, meet some of our customers, just figure out, like, how do we work? What gets us ticking? What gets us to thrive? And seeing if there is that chemistry to stay on this journey. And lastly, we come back to competence. Of course, talk to folks you work with, see the type of experiences. But what we found is that generally, if we have 1 and 2, competence is pretty much a matter of time before it falls into place.
That's so great. So great, Yogi. This has been a great podcast. A lot of learnings here. Last question I always like to give, and you already kind of did it. You put it throughout what you were saying is, but advice. What are, you've been, like you said, McKinsey, you have this awesome background in startups and things like that. So what are some pieces of advice, like 2 or 3 biggest pieces of advice for the solopreneur watching this, or the new startup? Like what type of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think it's 2 pieces. So one is what really worked for us. It's coming from a place of learning and from a place of making a bunch of mistakes, is really finding your purpose, making sure that is really, really, really clear. And for us, it's about making every rep better. It's about making every manager a better coach. And so finding your purpose, because when the days are hard, when the nights are long, that is what is going to keep you oriented, and keep you in the game. And frankly, it's staying in the game. And so the purpose is really, really key. You've got to ask yourself, like, do I believe that is true? And is that my truth, more importantly? So that's number one. Number two is, just at the end of the day, a business comes to life, obviously, when you have product, but really is when you have customers. And so get out there, meet your customers, meet prospects, making sure that you are spending that time, whether it's grabbing a coffee, whether it's jumping on a plane, whether it's grabbing a dinner, whatever is your thing, but finding that opportunity to meet with them. And that's when this becomes real. And that took us some time, but it's finally sunk in, and we're glad to be on that path.
Yeah, so Yogi, it was unbelievable to have you on. So everybody, definitely, again, make sure you reach out to Yogi Panjabi. Again, he's the co-founder of PeopleLens. And I think everybody listening to this right now, a sales leader. Everybody knows a sales leader, right? So let's get Yogi some referrals, right? Let's hear good news, right? And let's help these SaaS startups, right? They've got passion and they make it happen. And I love sales. I came from sales myself. So I was a software sales guy my whole life before I started my company. But again, it was awesome having you on the show, and stick around for a quick debrief. Looking forward to following your journey.
Mike, delighted to be on your show. Really, really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks.